based on people having their voice not only heard, but taken seriously and not ignored by corrupt council officials or corrupt government dictators. Let's be honest and face facts. We all know that's what they are. We need new models, new solutions for political networking, banking, justice systems, healthcare, education. We need to take this obsolete, outdated, broken system out of society and implement the change needed for a society that thrives on what people need.
Possible, but we stand here to tell you it is possible. We deserve the best, and that is the time, and now is the time to make the change that is necessary. This is what we're working on in Save Our Rights UK. We have action and we have solutions. There is no more time for acceptance of this corruption. So we ask you all to join us and keep uniting, keep doing what you're doing, and save the date for the 26th of September when we will be holding our next event. Thank you to Save Our Rights. Let's hear it for Save Our Rights. We've now got somebody who a lot of you is going to know. Who watches the High Wire? Who knows Self Victory? I can't hear you at the back. Victory has fought for more. He was a director on Days of Our Lives. He got involved in the movie Vaxxed. Who knows Vaxxed? We're going to feature Del now. Let's have some silence, folks. This man's campaigned tirelessly. Over $4 billion paid out to vaccine-damaged kids in America. £1,200 in the UK to vaccine-damaged kids. All the pharmaceutical companies, they can't be checked for it. Nobody, it doesn't fall to anyone. That new vaccine, nobody's going to take responsibility for it. If you have it, you're injured and you die, tough luck. We're still trying to get Del Victory.
Just bear with us, he's going to come on now. But before he comes on, who likes being locked down? Who likes being militarised? I'm ex-military of 23 years, and I'm telling you now, this pandemic is a pandemic. Who likes to know in 2001, whistleblowing? In 2001, they had the mandate to take out Saddam, and in that mandate, they had the martial law. Who wants to know?
It's hard to get the technical things right in situations like that, especially when the world's working against you.
So we'll come back
right now, I can't tell if
everybody doesn't like being locked down.
No, my brother did.
Well, listen to this guy. He's got information for you now. So listen up.
Everyone can see and hear me is what it says. It's true. Can you hear it, Judge? Can you hear it?
No, he was a sergeant. Well, he
right.
coordinated.
Is there anyone in the chat room here that can hear me? Okay, you can hear me, Scott. Okay. All right, so I'm being heard. Hello, everybody. Out there in London and around the world, this is Del Victory talking to you from Austin, Texas. Hello. As many of you know, I got started in this when I made the film Vaxxed about the whistleblower inside of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention named Dr. William Thompson. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, so it's great to have everybody out there. What an exciting time this is. I wish I was in London right now. I'm jealous of all of you getting together. We've got to talk about the dangers of what's taking place in this world. I've heard a lot about masks. I've heard a lot about tyranny. But this vaccine may be the most dangerous vaccine ever attempted, and that's what I want to talk about very quickly. Because I've been involved in an investigation into the safety of vaccines for over 5 years now, I know a lot about vaccines. My nonprofit, the Informed Consent Action Network, has been suing the government health agencies of the United States of America. We have won lawsuits against the National Institute of Health, where Tony Fauci works, the CDC, the FDA, Health and Human Services. Now, in the work that I do on my talk show, The High Wire, we are being censored all the time. My YouTube channel has been taken down, all because they say that I'm spreading misinformation, or that we are spreading misinformation. And I have a word to those people: you should try to win lawsuits against government.
Well, I'm not yet. I've been there a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get it for free. Huh?
Where's he speaking from?
That's how much I pay to get Ramsgate.
Big, but it's just massive room.
Are you going to have another lockdown?
4 or 5 bedrooms. It's nothing to do
Upstairs. We're going to have a quick song from Chico, and then we're going to try and do some lives. Then we're going to move down Whitehall, and we need you all to come. Are you going to come? Are you going to come? You are the people.
Okay.
Are you looking at the people? Are you looking at the people?
Who you want to speak? Stand up. Where's my stand-up family? Is it time to take our freedom back? Is it time to take our freedom back? You don't see the people want me to speak. Let's stand up. Let's take our freedom back. We are the people. We are the power. We are the 99%. We are the people. We are the power. We are the 99%. We are the 99%. We're here in unity. We're here to show our love, to show our power, to declare to this system, to this agenda, who has the real power. It's us. We love the world. We have the kindness, the truth, and love on our side. We are unstoppable. We will not be defeated. It's time to take our freedom back. I have been on a phenomenal journey the last few months. What's ironic is that the very same 1%, an agenda that we are going to destroy, is the bank for this. The unjustified lockdown triggered a wave of freedom fighters to find each other, Where my freedom fighters? I don't think they want me to speak. Should I get off? Should I get off? You want me to get off? What's ironic is that the lockdown triggered a wave of freedom fighters to find each other and form an unparalleled network and community. We have all been entrusted, privileged, and chosen to create a new world, a new way of living, a fair and just society where there isn't a minority of people with the majority of the world's wealth. 1%, your time is up. Your time's finished. It's over. You've had your fun. We are now going to reclaim what is ours. You have had your fun. We are now going to reclaim what is ours. We have something more powerful than they could ever dream of. Love. We are the love. We are the truth. Lies and deception have an expiry date. I would like to say a massive thank you to all the doctors, nurses and experts who have had the integrity, courage and wisdom to educate us, challenging and unthinking the ludicrous. The ludicrous mainstream narrative. David Icke, who has played a massive part in many of our awakenings. I would just like to personally give you a lot of credit and appreciation for the effort you have made to ensure the truth is heard. I am here to represent Stand Up X. Stand Up X is the most diverse group of conscious individuals you will ever see. We have people from all walks of life with a vast range of beliefs and opinions. The one thing we all have in common unifying us is the love of truth and freedom. We have been working relentlessly to build our community and make sure the 99% have a voice and representation. That's us. We have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. I am honored to stand with my family of freedom fighters here today. We stand together. We stand strong. We stand to liberate ourselves. I love you. The power we hold. The power we hold individually is immense. The power we hold together is unstoppable. We all realize this, and so does the system. Their money will not save them. It will just delay the inevitable. Every day we are growing in numbers, power and strength. We are returning to our natural ways. We are remembering our ancient wisdom. We are evolving and becoming the all-loving beings we are supposed to be. Our vibration and frequency is elevating in tune with our planet. Are you like me now? I think they're like me now. I think I want them over. I think I want them over. We are here in defiance. We are here to show our unity and our willingness to fight a corrupt and sinister system. Our freedom, liberty and future must be upheld and protected. And unfortunately the police and those entrusted to protect it are busy following orders. So it is our duty and responsibility to do so. Some people are very easily misguided, misled and manipulated to fearing their own shadow and the very air that keeps them alive. We're not that gullible. We will not be brought down due to others' lunacy. We will resist and defeat this agenda. We will conduct ourselves rationally, highlighting and demonstrating the inconsistencies of this blatant pandemic. We will remain strong, focused, and determined to uplift humanity. And once and for all break the chains of this oppressive system.
We have used this as a catalyst leading. We have been confronted with the ugly truth. The truth which many of us have known and been warning others about for years. The truth which will destroy their system and agenda. Our voice and the truth will be heard and felt. We are the people. We are the power. We are the 99%. Stand up.
We're in solidarity. We're supposed to be unified. We're supposed to be unified amongst ourselves and amongst each other. This is about unity. If anyone's got any political agenda, fuck off. This is about people power. You are united in a cause together. Everybody needs to understand that, all right? So let's get together. Let's stand together too. And pass the mic on.
Sorry for the language to any children that are here. Daniel X, I've just got to announce, they want me to announce that they're going to have a march down Whitehall. And then they're going to continue with all of your groups, Daniel X, all of them. But we need everyone to clear the stage. And they're going to go down Whitehall. Don't shoot the messenger. So if everyone can clear the stage and get ready to march.
Make sure that I'm here to give you information, and I want to be held to account. If my information is wrong, I will correct it, and I'm asking you to do the research and find out for yourselves. So I'm going to tell you very briefly 3 things: who I am, and that there is really good news about COVID-19. Number 2, if this good news is true, what changes should we be making in Ireland and in the whole world? And number 3, that Ireland is actually leading a movement in the whole world to set these changes on fire. I'll talk a little bit more at the end, but I just wanted to acknowledge, first of all of you for coming, all of our good friends in the police for keeping us safe today, all of you for ensuring this is a peaceful protest with lots of hope and lots of love. The opposite of fear is love. They want you to be afraid. You have to love yourselves, love each other, and love Ireland. We are the change. Truth and freedom. Truth and freedom. I'd like to pay tribute as well to a few people who have came from straight away to help me, and they include Eamon, they include Tracy O'Mahony, and most of all Dr. De Bruin, who's here today. And Una McGurk and all of the other people. Some of them might want to remain anonymous, but there has been lots of barristers, lots of solicitors, and scientists and doctors. So fair play to them. So just briefly on me, my name is Dolores Cahill, molecular biologist and immunologist. I set up a company from 1997 to 2019, and for all of my research career has been about early diagnosis of disease to reduce symptoms and keep people healthy, not to sell drugs, not to make money. And all my life has been about research integrity, and for 15 years I've been a professor, for 10 years I was on the Government Advisory Science Council, and for 15 years I've been advising the EU as an expert. I'm only telling you that because my expertise is not just in science, but actually looking at the impacts of government policy in science, innovation and education on all of society. And as doctors, scientists and in public health, we all, and the government and politicians, have a duty to look at the harm as well as the benefits of everything that they implement. And what they're doing is not considering the harm from the lockdown versus the deaths associated with COVID-19, and this is wrong. So we need to choose truth, choose freedom, and tell them, no, this is wrong. So, the good news about COVID-19 is that it is a coronavirus, but the death rate, when it was announced, is 4,200 out of 7 billion in the whole wide world. So that means from December 2019 to the 11th of March 2020, 4,200 people died. So every death, of course, is a tragedy, and every unnecessary death is not just a tragedy, but it's almost a crime. And why we're here today is to say there has been unnecessary deaths, and we want to make sure that in this flu season, in the winter of 2020 and 2021, there will be no more unnecessary deaths. And this information has to get out. So truth and freedom. So the real figures of death in Ireland is there is one death under 25. So, and that looks to be someone of the age of 17. So there is therefore no justification for the schools to be closed. Michael Levitt, Nobel Prize winner, said that all of the deaths are people with either 1, 2 or 3 underlying conditions, and they would have died in a month anyway. So therefore, people who have died, there are less than 20 people in Ireland who died in the whole 6 months under 55. Less than 110 under 65 and 1,100 out of the whole country. But it will be 10 to 20 times more people that will die because of the lockdown, not because of COVID-19. So we have to end the lockdown. But the really good news is that there are treatments available so that there will be less deaths for other flu seasons in all the years to come. This is good news. This is good news. The treatments are inhaled steroids, ivermectin, and of course, as highlighted by the American frontline doctors, hydroxychloroquine. So hydroxychloroquine is used as a prevention and an early treatment. It costs 10 cents to make, and you can get it for 40 cents. It has a half-life of 3 weeks. So if you want to prevent yourself from having even symptoms of flu in the future, you just need 1 tablet of hydroxychloroquine every month. Cool. So the thing is, if there is a bond between scientists, doctors, public health officials, civil servants, the politicians, and you who pay our salaries. And if there is a treatment for a disease that is one of the essential medicines of the world, Dr. Simon Gold of American Frontline Doctors and all those doctors have said it is a magic bullet. In 50 years of adverse event reporting of the FDA in America, it's one of the safest drugs. It can and always always has been given to pregnant women, breastfeeding women, children and the elderly, and the adverse events were overinflated. So we have a treatment, we don't need the lockdown. So I've spent 2 months on this report, which will be announced next week. But there is a graph there from World Data that the countries who gave hydroxychloroquine have much less deaths. The countries, including Ireland, that did not make hydroxychloroquine available are among the highest numbers of deaths. We need hydroxychloroquine. So truth and freedom, we need this health information. So this is the basis of what the changes should be to policy in Ireland and in the world. Because it would be like if someone had discovered an antibiotic and people were dying of pneumonia in Ireland back in the 20s and 30s. There was huge information that this antibiotic was safe and effective, but people were still dying of pneumonia. And people were well aware that this was happening. That are preventable deaths, and the people who are not allowing health information to be available should be held to account. The media, RTE, the journalists, and the politicians. So I am asking you to do something today, because everyone says, you know, what can you do? What you have to do today is to go home and talk to your families, but write a letter to your doctor, your GP, and say, in September, October, are you going to prescribe hydroxychloroquine to the elderly in the care homes and the people at risk? And you know, someone of you would be interesting that we should have a register, not only of the doctors that are prescribing, but right to the Irish Medicines Organisation, the Minister for Health, every one of your TDs and the Taoiseach to say, are you going to make an essential medicine, one of the safest medicines in the world, approved by the FDA over 50 years ago, available to the elderly and the sick? And if you're not, why not? If you're not, why not? Hydroxychloroquine should be made available. This is freedom and truth. So COVID-19 has the same death rate as a normal influenza. Even with all the overinflation of testing, still the death rate up to about June 2020, because people don't die of flu in the summer, is the exact same as an ordinary influenza virus. Coronaviruses only circulate between December and March. They are not March and April, they are not causing death now. And why this is important is, if coronavirus is not circulating, if no one is dying, if cases are just people who had any coronavirus or the common cold, the government should stop testing, the media need to stop reporting on cases, and every aspect of the lockdown has to be stopped. So no lockdown, no masks, no social distancing, no infringements of our rights, no forced vaccinations, and most of all, children should not be interfered with in the schools. It is psychologically damaging for children to be made afraid of viruses and invisible bacteria. It is psychologically damaging. The doctors know it, the teachers know it, the civil servants know it, and it is actually going to cause cause depression and anxiety to a generation. So what they're doing is making the elderly have more illness and symptoms and more death and more fear. It's entirely preventable. To the children, they are instilling fear, forcing social distancing. Masks are entirely unnecessary. They are going to undermine their mental health for a generation, cause them unnecessary anxiety. It is totally a crime against the children and a crime against humanity, a crime against the elderly. No. Truth and freedom. No, we are not having it. No, 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 no. No, exactly. We're not having it. Okay, so the next thing is that there is then a lot of hope, because we need to, of course, challenge it. And just to give you examples of other countries where people are challenging it. So in Canada, and one of the most excellent lawyers in Canada, Rico Gigliati, on the 6th of July, has filed a lawsuit to the Ontario Supreme Court. And he is going to hold for the Canada's pandemic response measures, including compulsory masks, the closures of business, and the enforcement of physical distance. He's suing the governments of Canada and Ontario, the City of Toronto, senior politicians, the local individuals in the health authorities. So HSC, the local individuals, the heads of departments of the civil servants, and the medical authorities and doctors. And he's saying that the closures and all these measures were extreme, unwarranted and unjustified. Self-isolation imposed on individuals just like Ireland was not scientific, not medically based, and not proven. The mandatory wearing of face coverings imposes physical and psychological harm, and this lawsuit alleges the measures violate the right of association, the right of freedom, the right of security of the person, unlawful search and seizure, arbitrary detention, and intrusion into the family home. So we need to do the exact same in Ireland. And one bright bit of good news that I just heard in the last few days is that in Poland, the Minister for Health, Lucas Shabowski, has resigned for the way Poland has handled the lockdown. So what I would be asking for you is that I think we should not allow schools to impose social distancing or masks or any testing or treatment without family and parental and guardian consent. So all of you are going to have to write letters. So, and also all of you on social media. And I fully support Tracy O'Mahony in her initiative against mandatory vaccinations. But you need to actually write what's called a notice of liability. And you have to say, dear chairman of your school board, dear principal with their name, dear teacher, I will bring, if they start to write you out a letter to say social distancing and masks, and you say, I will comply with your policies and measures on one condition, that you personally sign this notice of liability to say that this is scientifically proven and justified, will not cause any unnecessary mental health, and that if this is not the case, that they can be held personally, the teacher, the principal, the chairman, and every single parent on this governing board. And if I was a parent on those governing boards, I would resign. Because I would be happy to go to any and every school in Ireland for free. For free. future, Miss Principal, Miss Chairman of the Board, personally, you are going to infringe mental anguish on those children, and they will have psychological and mental health and anxiety issues their whole lives, and we will not stand by and watch you ruin a generation of Irish children. Truth and freedom. So just as well, if you want to know a little bit of law in Ireland, I thought I would throw it out, and of course if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be held accountable. But that in Irish law, whether you're a scientist or a GP or a minister for health or a civil servant or an administrator in your local hospital or someone who owns or manages a care home, or the care home workers or the nurses or the bus drivers or the police or anyone, while they all do great work, they have no legal right to infringe our human rights, our rights under the Constitution, and enforce masks or vaccinations. So anyone who asks you to do this, or who gives incorrect information, such as on RTE, the medicines associations, their doctor advisors, the scientists that are on RTE and advising the government, that if you give misinformation, it's called misprision. And you can be held personally liable, including under Sections 18 and Sections 19 of the Criminal Justice Act 2011. And under Section 7 of the Criminal Liability Act 1997, that places culpability on the individuals and also on the state for making policies based on misinformation and for people asking you to do something that's against your fundamental constitutional rights of freedoms and bodily integrity. We are not having it. Truth and freedom, say no! 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 So on the 3rd of July 2020, HICWA came out with a report, and while all of the deaths in the care homes were a tragedy, and Dr. De Bruin, who I admire and respect and totally support, is speaking after me, that in the HICWA report they said that up to 800 of those deaths were probably not accountable to COVID-19, but in other countries like America, they said more than half of those deaths were preventable, including in the care homes, and we are not going to have the same type of deaths this winter. So say no! 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 But what? No! 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 But why I'm mentioning that is, and of course we know there are excellent teachers in Ireland, we know there are excellent guards, there are excellent care home workers, there are excellent scientists, they are us, they are our brothers and sisters, and we love them and we thank them for the work that they do. But if you feel that your care home or your elderly relative should have been given prevention like hydroxychloroquine, you can actually write to the coroner and ask for the reporting of those deaths, and then you can write to your doctor and send him and ask him or her, why did you not give my elderly relative hydroxychloroquine, you specifically, and while it won't bring your loved one back, it means their deaths, that they did not die in vain. And if we stand up and hold the doctor, even one doctor, one care home worker, one politician, one minister for account, when it comes to October 2020, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, vitamin D, C, zinc, and good nutrition will be made available to the elderly in our care homes, and that's what we want. So because I'm invited here and I'm very proud and I am associated with Health Freedom Ireland, I just wanted to mention a little bit, and first I should say that I am pro-safe vaccines, but I wanted to talk a little bit about vaccines, and I'm happy to be held to account, debated and challenged for what I'm going to say. So, and this is just to pass the information, because if coronavirus and COVID-19 is the same death rate as an annual flu, and if there's a safe and effective prevention and treatment, which is a World Health Organization essential medicines of the world because it's so effective, hydroxychloroquine, then we do not need to lock down the country, but we do also not need compulsory or mandatory vaccinations. So say no to mandatory